Hey, welcome everybody to a new Glaser Group video. Today with me is Miss Rachell Evans from Novaschool Sunland. Rachel, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're going to talk a little bit about public schools, the difference between public and private schools, etc. But to start with, can you tell a little bit about yourself, the school you're working in, and why it's so amazing?
Well, I am the principal of Novaschool Sunland International, which is located in Cartagena, which is more or less about 25 minutes from the centre of Malaga. We actually have 10 bus routes ranging from Fuengirola all the way down to El Palo and that side of Malaga. Also, we have bus routes from Coí and Alarina Grande. I've been there for, more than 20 years. So I'm a little bit like the furniture, and I've been the head there since 2016. What makes Novaschool Sunland so special? That's a good question. I think it's the spirit of the school, that the fact that it's a school that's located in the countryside. And what you will find with a lot of the schools, international schools, is that they will tend to be located in inner cities. Mm-hmm. And so with that, you have obviously limited space, whereas in Novaschool Sunland, the campus is enormous. The main campus is 40,000 square meters, but we've also recently acquired new land and just keep on growing and offering students that option of an outdoor education as well.
Yeah, I remember my first time being there, because some of the people might not know, but two of my children have been in school, and actually Nina just graduated.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I remember coming there for the first time and seeing, well, the pond and the forests and the hills and the green and the grass. And I come from the Netherlands, and my school was a concrete building.
Absolutely.
I might have been lucky if there was a tree at the entrance. More like, hey, so we've got something green. And I remember walking around at Novaschool, and I'm like, wow. Yeah. I would have wished as a kid that this would have been my school, and this serene setting. And after speaking as well with Kaylee and Nina of how they experience it, they love it. It's nice, it's green. They even, one of the things they like are the outdoor classes you have in the woods. One of the downsides, they always say, is the walking, because you have a 40,000 square meters.
Exactly. At Sunland, none of our teachers have gym membership. No. We don't need it. But it's true. It's a very special school, and also a very family-orientated school, that our students, the families, we really do take care of them and offer a very individualized approach to their education. And also, I think one of our selling points, if you want, is that when you've been a Sunlander, we call ourselves Sunlander. When you've been a Sunlander, you're a Sunlander forever. Yeah. Only recently we had our year 13 graduation, and we had student come back and give a talk in the graduation. On the last day of school, we had a whole group of students coming back and saying, and that happens continually. And so for us to have students that come back and still feel part of that community, I think is very, very unique. I know that when I left school, the thought of ever going back to school to see my teachers, it just didn't happen.
I'm now 40. I think I haven't been back in 23 years to school, and I'm not planning to consider. But I saw it firsthand, like, I think it's 2 weeks ago that we had the graduation party of Nina. And Kaylee, who hadn't been in your school for 2 years, she came back and she started speaking with the teachers, and she came around one of the former classmates she saw, and it was all very natural and instant. And one of the things I really like is the bonding that the kids have. It's because it's a complete different mentality than I think the public school is.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I went through a public school and I turned out okay. And I'm not here to say that public schools are, the worst thing that you can do and send your child to a public school. But of course, with a private school, there are so many advantages. I completely understand in the terms of it's a financial burden. One of the main differences, obviously, is that you need to pay the school fees. However, when you take that into consideration with the benefits of sending your child, particularly in this area, we have lots and lots of different nationalities all coming together, sending their child to a public Spanish school and basically being left to either sink or swim. We're not only on about young children that maybe might acquire the language very quickly. We're on about, teenagers that have come maybe from the UK, maybe from the Netherlands, who are suddenly thrown into a public school, don't know the language, and obviously don't make the academic process that they have potential to achieve.
That is exactly the reason how Kaylee got into your school.
Exactly.
Because we came here, now it's almost 8 years ago.
God.
Oh, it's more than 8 years ago. Last month it was
flies.
8 years ago. But Kaylee got here and she did, fifth and sixth year of primary school.
Yes.
But since we were not native Spanish, she got an adjusted level of Spanish.
Yes.
And then she went to secondary school, and they said, adjusted level of Spanish.
Yeah.
We don't do that. You sink or you swim.
Exactly.
And the problem she had, literally, was that after a couple months, COVID hit.
Yeah, of course.
And the kids had home study.
Yeah, oh.
And my Spanish wasn't up to speed.
Yeah.
I couldn't help her with the Spanish classes. And since everything is Spanish, I even found out that in the Spanish system, math is being done differently than in the Dutch system that I knew.
Yeah.
It's just different. So we couldn't help her. We couldn't cope. And you could see Kaylee sliding down in happiness and how much she liked it. And she was struggling. And from the school, we didn't get the help. And that was when we chose to bring Kaylee to Novaschool Sunland. And she cheered up. Her academic performance greatly improved. Her Spanish maybe a little bit less because it's more English-based.
Yes, yes.
But because of that, it was so much easier for her to cope and to make new friends. And
absolutely.
One of the reasons, for example, Nina went to your school was because it's smaller classes. I think that's one of the very big differences.
Yeah, it's a big difference between, obviously, public schools. You're governed by state funding.
Yeah.
And in this, as you can imagine, with state funding, it very much depends on who is in power, the particular party that in power. Whereas private schools, of course, that doesn't happen. We are self-sufficient. And so with that comes the autonomy, if you want, to allocate funding where we feel that it's best needed. And so you would also find not only smaller class sizes, in the case of Novaschool Sunland, maximum of 25, but also generally you would find, or at least you should find, better resources, technology, and the flexibility to design a curriculum around the students that we have. In the case of Novaschool Sunland, we're a British school and we follow the British curriculum 100%. But with that, we recognise that we're a British school in Spain. And so we have lots of Spanish families that want to then maybe at the end of the sixth form, so at the end of what is equivalent to the segundo de bachillerato, they want to go to a Spanish university. Yeah. And so our students have a part of the Spanish curriculum, the obligatory part of the Spanish curriculum, that then allows our families to decide whether they want to stay in Spain to go to university or to leave and go to an international university. And that's so, so important. And even with some of the families, non-Spanish families that have been in Spain for a long time, maybe don't want their child to go off to an international university and are happy with the quality and the proximity, if you want, of the Spanish university. Malaga University is a fantastic university. And so it's quite remarkable that it's not only our Spanish students that study the obligatory part of the Spanish curriculum, but also students that have that level of Spanish that are, potentially can go off to university in Spain and be successful, also study what we call our BB program and apply for Spanish universities as well, and are very successful.
And now you just said one of the things that I always find quite interesting. You have, of course, a very big international community at your school, because it's easy, it's fluent, it's high quality, etc. But you also said that you've got a lot of Spanish families.
Yes.
How is the mix, for example, in your school between Spanish families, international families? How is that?
Okay, so Approximately, we're about 70% now Spanish.
Wow.
And yeah, 70% Spanish, and the rest then you'll find obviously a great percentage would be British. We'll have a lot of Dutch families, German, American. We've had in the past Canadian families. I think actually we've just recently enrolled another 2 Canadian families. We have a lot of Asian families as well. It really is a plethora of international students. But again, we all have one thing in common, and that is the identity of being in a British school, and that ethos that goes with being in a British school. It's really, really important that our students feel that.
And talking now about that, the British school, the divide between 70% Spanish, 30% expat. What is the big key advantage they experience from Novaschool Sunland or any other private school compared to the public Spanish system? What is the biggest key thing that you would point at, say, that is why you go for it?
I would say one of the big aspects would be the resources and the personalized approach. We have an obligation, if you want. Our clientele are our parents and our families. And so, in a public school, you might be lucky to have maybe one meeting with a parent during the academic year. We are always open to meeting with parents. We have a very personalized approach. We also have a fantastic SEND department, which is our Special Educational Needs and Disabilities Department. And of course, more and more you'll see students, and again, this is quite a knock-on effect from COVID. A lot of students now, particularly some of the older students, you can see that whether it be pastoral issues, self-esteem, or general special education needs, they're catered for a lot better in a private school than in a public school.
Hey, and now I have from my own experience, both of my oldest daughters, they went first to Spanish secondary school, both switched over to Novaschool Sunland. Is that difficult to do, or is it, for example, difficult as well to switch back to go, say, from Novaschool Sunland back to Spanish school or any other? How does that work in Spain?
Okay, well, I mean, you can do it. It depends on the age. So in terms of primary, we have an admissions process, and children that come from a Spanish school that want to come to Novaschool Sunland, normally we would require them to do an English entry examination. Sometimes if it's borderline, we will go away and say, okay, well, we're going to give you X amount of time to improve the level of English. And this is all in writing, so the family, it's like a contract. We need you to improve your level of English. And it wouldn't be working in our favour if we accepted students who don't have access to the curriculum because they don't speak the language. We are, we're an international school, but my heart is in education. And if I feel that I'm not going to be doing justice to that child's education, then I'm not going to accept them because it's another child on a seat in a classroom. That has never been our philosophy. Unfortunately, it's very, very difficult sometimes to say no to families. But there have been some really happy endings where we've said, not right now to families. They've gone away, maybe come back in a year's time, and they've enrolled in an academy, for example, or done a very, very intensive English course, or had a native English tutor, and they've come back and I've said, yes, I can accept you now, and they've thrived at Sunland. With the older students, again, it's down to an admissions test as well. But also what I do as well is I would tend to look at across the board. So if you can see that a student may not have the level of English, but academically they have potential. So I can see that they're thriving in mathematics or thriving in humanities, then I know that student's got potential to acquire the language at a quicker rate than maybe other students.
So then you looked at a bigger picture.
It's the bigger picture. And it's never black and white. There's a whole series of factors to take into consideration. And it's a decision that's not made lightly. And quite often, students then that leave us and then go to a Spanish system, unfortunately, sometimes they haven't had a great experience. They want to come back to Sunland. And then we noticed the massive drop in their level of English, particularly their writing, because spoken English, if you're in an English environment, it's easy to maintain
easier.
that. But if you don't have the right tuition for writing in English, when they come back, we often find that they've dropped quite significantly.
But it's also quite, let's say, more difficult to go from a private school back into the Spanish system, depending on which year you've been.
Yes.
Because I remember, for example, friends of my oldest daughter, they did the first 4 years of secondary school at Novaschool Sunland.
Yes.
And then went back into the Spanish
The
system.
system.
But that isn't always possible. You always need to be careful with which subjects you have
Exactly.
then as well.
And it's a completely different system, the sixth form in a Spanish system, whereas our school, we offer A levels, which is the British educational pre-university courses, whereas you tend to focus on 3 or 4 subjects, plus the Específica, which is the Spanish part of the curriculum that I mentioned previously. Then students that leave prior to that and go into a Spanish system, they have what's known as the selectividad. We don't need to do that because we have the equivalent, which is our A levels. But the selectividad in the Spanish system is a very broad selection of subjects.
Less focused.
Exactly. And so it's a completely different system, and sometimes students go there and unfortunately they don't achieve their potential because they're
You get more, a wider knowledge,
exactly,
but a more basic knowledge.
At a basic level, absolutely, yes.
Okay. Hey, and now one of the big things in your school I know as well is you're not only focused at being at school. I know you do a lot of trips, a lot of excursions. Nina has just been to Paris.
Yes.
I mean, they have been on, I think she went to Sierra Nevada to ski this. Can you explain a little bit?
She's been to London as well, don't
forget.
forget.
Yeah, she's been to London last year. Can you explain a little bit what it is that your school does with things like this, what the big difference is in the ID? Because I know farm trips, I know museum trips, I know Paris and London and Sierra Nevada. I know every year you guys go to Granada to another Sunland school, Novaschool.
Novaschool, yes, absolutely. It's very much part of our curriculum and embedded in our curriculum that we offer during the academic year cultural trips, and that could be from the Spanish department, it could be from the humanities department in the through the British educational side of the school. And it really is to complement the curriculum. So, for example, if our students are studying a particular topic in history, and there is a museum that they can go to complement that. And it's very much in line with the British philosophy that students learn from tangible and experiences. And if you connect the practical, the knowledge is more likely to stay there. So if you're teaching a concept in, let's say, mathematics, in fact, today I was talking to my teachers about this, that why not integrate mathematical problem solving with more outdoor physical activities? And so if you're learning about measurement in mathematics and in physical education, they're doing, the dreaded bleep test where you run and you're timed and how far you can jump and so on, then putting those two aspects together, those students in mathematics that may struggle with this concept because time is very abstract, connecting it with the activity of running and connecting it with that different aspect, you're more likely to acquire that knowledge. And this is proven through years and years of experience, that making that connection between the practical and the theoretical going together, it really does work. And it's the same with excursions. Of course, then with that, we have the end of year excursions as well, going to Paris. This is really a celebration of our students.
Well, it's not only a celebration. I mean, I got a whole lesson about the Louvre and everything there.
It's cross-curricular. They learn a little bit of everything. There was another group in year 12 that went to Rome. One of the big exciting things we've launched this year as part of the Novaschool group, and we're a group of 11 schools, is that we have a school in Granada, Novaschool Medina Elvira, which is a residential school. And so we offer innovation camps. So the students go there and we have a series of workshops. So I was delivering a drama workshop. There was also a workshop, an entrepreneur workshop, and various activities where the whole Novaschool cohort of that particular age group come together and collaborate on exciting projects, and really enthused going at the start of the year, where sometimes, you know, you really need to get those students enthused at the start of the year, because if not, the rest of the year is going to be really, really difficult.
Let's put a little bit the focus again on your specific school, Novaschool Sunland. That said, I think I know your school now about 6 years.
Yes.
Roughly the time that my oldest daughter came to your school. I fell in love with the school, the surroundings, the area, the whole campus, everything on it. I think I started the first couple months with driving my own daughter to school, and I was very fed up very fast with that. But you guys have a bus service, which I think is amazing. So especially where we live now, every morning Nina needed to walk about 5 to 10 minutes to the bus. Got on the bus, went to school, came back with the bus, walked home, and done deal.
Absolutely.
Can you give a little bit an idea as well on school times? Because there is a big difference again between public school and private school.
Yeah, our school day, teachers are in school at 9 o'clock, and students, then we have a morning club that we offer from 7:30 in the morning. It's at an additional cost because it's an extra activity, if you want, that we offer for our parents that maybe need to get to work a bit earlier. So we have the morning club, but officially school starts at 9 o'clock. And then all students should be in class at 9:30. So really between the hours of 9 and 9:30, that's when the buses arrive, the parents drop off their students or their children. And then really then it's throughout the day. We also have extracurriculars that we offer. We don't offer it after school like some schools do, because we have so many students that come to us via bus.
Yeah.
And school finishes in foundation, that's the early years foundation stage, infantile. They finish at 4 o'clock, 4:15 then for primary, and in secondary they finish at 4:30.
So actually you almost do everything from 2 3-year-olds to 18-year-olds.
Absolutely, 3 until 18, and it's amazing because it's all on the one campus. It's recently we had some of our sixth form students who are soon to go off to university. They'd finished their exams, and they wanted to be at Sunland to volunteer to help out with the little students, helping them read. And so it's a special school in the sense that you see students right the way through their educational journey. I know students who have just graduated that I remember when they first joined us when they were 3 years old. It's amazing.
And talking a little bit about the school, the campus, all the facilities, what you just said, because I know it's much more than a normal school has, but can you tell a little bit what you have, why you have it, etc.? Yeah,
well, the first big thing obviously we have is, as you know, we have our football pitch.
Yeah.
Along with the football pitch, we have a basketball court, we have a volleyball pitch, we have various outdoor classrooms or forest classrooms, as we like to call them. We also have
which I always thought was an amazing idea. It's nice weather. Let's go outside.
Absolutely. When I'm teaching literature, I get my students out there, and it just adds this extra dimension to the lesson. We also have a natural classroom, which is a new area that we've acquired, connected to Sunland, and it's basically like another forest classroom. We've got
swimming pool.
Swimming pool, yes, thank you, which is under renovation right now, and will eventually be covered, because we recognise that a lot of families in Spain, learning to swim is so important, and really being able to offer swimming just for those months, May until normally the end of September, really we're not doing it justice. So we are looking to eventually cover the swimming pool and offer it all year round. And so it's so important, you know, as a father yourself, that learning to swim, a lot of people out here have pools at home, or obviously you go to the beach often, and it's priority for us to get those kids swimming. And we also have, along what you would normally expect, we have 2 state-of-the-art ICT rooms. We have an amazing assembly hall, which we use for meetings and for our formal examinations. And really it's exciting because the school keeps growing. And I think, again, this is one of the important things of being a private school is that we are constantly reinvesting, keep investing, and keep growing. Currently at 850, more or less.
850 students.
Yes, and when I started, there was 31.
And that was so in 20 years you went from 31 students to 850.
Yes, it's been a long journey.
And do you guys have an idea like this is the maximum we can or want to do?
Well,
or
currently, because
you just keep expanding?
No, it's all control. We're a NAB school. I'm an inspector for NABS, which is the National Association of British Schools in Spain.
Okay, good.
So another part of my job is I travel around Spain and I inspect British schools, and if they don't meet British standards, then we have to then put them onto an action plan, and worst case scenario, unfortunately, they would not be able to continue running. As a NAB school, we are authorised by the British Council, and so we have a building inspection. Our current authorisation is just over 1,000, I believe it's 1,100 students, so we're below that. But of course, the idea is that in the future we continue to grow, build new classrooms, but still maintaining that quality of education, which is pivotal, 25 students per class. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
at one point you need to start building extra classrooms.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Hey, and 850 children, a lot of them will probably go abroad, international universities.
We have a lot of students that go to university in Europe. Lots obviously go back to the UK, but you'd be surprised a lot of the students stay in Spain. Malaga University, Madrid, there's some amazing universities here, and fortunately our students, like I've said previously, with that dual qualification, they're able to access both universities. In the Spanish system, to get to the best universities, it's out of a maximum of 14 points.
Okay.
Whereas in the British system, it's with the A levels, it's 10. And so this is why our students follow in the sixth form the subject específica that gives them that additional points. So they have the opportunity to go to the best universities. And we currently have students studying medicine and engineering all over, some wonderful careers.
We ourselves are now busy with Kaylee. She goes to Ireland after the summer.
Oh, wonderful.
We're not sure where yet, because Ireland only makes it known half of August when we get all the results from her A-level exams, and then you need to draw in and this and that. But it makes it all possible.
Absolutely.
And that is, I think, a very nice thing. And if we go back a little bit about families who are moving here, because that is happening a lot. With, of course, especially with my company, we've got a lot of Dutch, English, recently also more American and Mexican families coming this way. How difficult is it for children to enter in the middle of the year? Because one of the things that I'm really seeing a lot is that people choose a school.
Yes.
And then start looking, okay, I want to go to this school.
Yeah.
So I want to live here. And I recently had it with a Dutch Canadian family. Mm-hmm. They wanted to be in a specific private school in Marbella. Mm-hmm. And they didn't want to be more than 10 minutes driving from that. I just had a Dutch family who per se wanted to go to Novaschool Sunland, and they didn't want to be more than 20 minutes driving from there. So I was on the phone with them, Martin, okay, where can we go? Because we've set our mind on that school. Yeah. We heard great things on it. Yeah. Novaschool Sunland seems to be very great. We do not want to be in the car more than 20 minutes. Where can we go? Yeah. So for those people, I think it's very important to know, can you start 1st of February? Can you start the 1st of November if I just come in halfway the year?
I mean, let's be truthful. When you've got children, the most important decision that you can make is based on their schooling. Yeah. Completely understand. Everything really, if you've got the right school, everything else falls into place. Moving is really, really stressful. But you don't want to have the added pressure of, okay, we like this house, but we don't like the school. And so it tends to be the opposite. Find the right school. And I really would recommend that as well. And then look, okay, are we looking at a bus service? Are we looking at driving to the school? But really focus on the school first. Yes, you can. We have lots of students that enroll during the academic year. The only difficulty really is when you have a family that are coming from what we call the official examination subjects year group. So, for example, in our year 11, which is the final year of the IGCSEs, it's very, very difficult to enter that year unless you've come from a school of the same educational system.
Because you're not bringing your qualifications.
Exactly. And the same with A levels. I've accepted many students that have come from a similar school, similar system, educational system, and that crossover is not a problem. The problem occurs when you've got a student that's come from a completely different system, maybe the American system, and they want to join in the final year of a British system where it's a 2-year course.
Yeah.
And so quite often we will accept them on the understanding that it may be that they don't reach their academic potential because they've missed a whole year.
Yeah.
A lot of the systems you will find there is a crossover between the curriculum, so we might map and say, okay, so in...
We can cross this off,
yeah,
that
exactly.
off.
You can pick out areas and say, okay, where you've come from, you've covered this aspect of the curriculum. However, you need to now go away and study this aspect to really get to the level. But really, it's only those 2 cases where everything else... a lot of people actually do choose to move during the year because it tends to be in the summertime where they come and they're looking for schools or they're looking for the right houses. So really it does tend to happen later on.
And so talking about that, it is possible to get in halfway of the year.
Absolutely.
A lot of people indeed are looking first for the school.
Yes.
And then try to find the property with it. Is there any advice that you would give to people who are thinking of immigrating or already planning it? What would your main advice be to them?
My main advice for anybody looking for a school and to relocate to the area would be to go shopping, go to the schools, make appointments, and not only make appointments as a family, make appointments without the children as well. Because with the children, I would say at least make 2 appointments to visit a school. The first, it may be just the parents, sometimes grandparents come along as well even, or other members of the family. But let's say make it adult based, the first point of reference. Make sure that you are in contact with the admissions officer to book that appointment. We're very, very busy. We have a lot of families to show the schools around, and sometimes it's not always easy if a family just turn up and expecting to be shown around. So my advice is to get the information from the website, the telephone number, or via email, or in the case of our school, you could just click on a button and you're immediately through to the admissions department. If you're happy with what you see, then it's always useful, if possible, to then go back and bring the children, because really it's them. It's not us. If you get the feeling from your...
If you get a good feeling of it.
If you get a good feeling, and then the third step in the process is something that we do, is then we offer a trial day. And a trial day is then where a prospective student will spend the day with us. Normally they tend to be collected about lunchtime. And that for us is really the turning point, because that student will automatically make friends, will go home saying, oh my gosh, this is amazing, I want to go to this school, and everything else is
I remember
easy.
with Nina, she came to your school, I think, the first day.
Yes.
And she was so excited when she came back and so happy, because I came as a new kid to the class immediately. 4 or 5 other children
Come to collect,
came to me,
absolutely.
came to help me. They took me, they explained me everything, and she was over the moon with that.
Absolutely.
One of the last questions that are, because I think we're covering it all. What would you want to say to people? Why should they choose Novaschool Sunland International over any of the other private schools? Because we've got a lot. Why should they choose your school? Why go to SS John de Cartema? Why go to Novaschool Sunland International?
I would say that our school has a unique selling point, and that is that we don't need to sell ourselves.
Yeah.
You come to Sunland and what you will experience is a school like no other. And I can say that with all open honesty, because as I mentioned previously, I visit schools all around Spain. And when I go and I complete an inspection, whether it be in Madrid or whether in Barcelona, Valencia, Alicante, and I come back to Sunland, I have this moment where I go, wow. And it's something special. It's the environment. It's that movement of students. It's that continuity between the students from 3 right the way through to 18. It's the support of the staff. Our staff are amazing. It's that the buzz of being in Sunland, that we are a community, that we have events like our Family Fun Day.
Yeah.
And, you know, we are socializing with the parents. And it's that feeling of all joining together for the benefit of our students, our children, and the community as a whole. I don't know anything else like it. It's special, but I think the outdoor, the environment, and the online, the feeling of being together is so important.
Can you give us an idea? Because as you said, it's a private school. It's funded by the parents.
Yes.
Or not funded. It's funded by the parents who pay admission fees,
Yes.
etc. to the kids. Can you give us an idea what the price ranges for private schools are?
All of our price ranges are on the website, and what you will find is they vary. The older students obviously require more specialist teachers in different areas, more specialist resources. So it tends to be in our school, the older the students get, and there's a slight increase. But I can say that when you go onto our website, you'll see that we're very competitive.
Yeah.
In comparison to other schools. And it's really, really important, and again, this is good advice for parents, is look what the package is. In Novaschool Sunland,
Don't
for
only look at the
example,
price.
dinners are included. You might find a lot of other schools on the Costa del Sol, you might think this is just the one-off payment, but actually, when you start looking at what you're getting, actually then on top of that, you have to pay for your dining room, you have to pay for this, you have to pay for that. Whereas at Sunland, it's all integrated. And
I mean, there are even private schools that don't have a dining hall.
Exactly.
Children need to bring their own lunch.
Absolutely.
Well, I know you guys have a warm meal every afternoon.
Absolutely, and it's Mediterranean cooking. It's amazing. It's all cooked on site. We don't have caterers. We have the best chef.
Yeah.
And again, it's a very special moment of the day when our students come together. But it's really important that parents look at the small print and see what other schools are offering. But really, my main advice is to book that appointment and go and visit. And in the case of Sunland, as I said, our unique selling point is that we don't need to sell our school.
I did the same, because before I brought my first daughter to your school, I went shopping. I went to see what did the other people have, what's the big difference. And yes, indeed, it's your estate where you are. But one of the things that for me did it, and it's something very small, but I think it says a lot about the mentality and the ethics of the school, is the attire that the children are wearing.
Yes.
They're not wearing a suit and ties.
No.
They're wearing,
absolutely.
I think, clothes that they feel comfortable in and they're happy with.
And that's so important. Again, you'll see, you know, not mentioning other schools, but you will see other attire that is very formal. We're in the Costa del Sol.
Yeah.
The clothes have got to be comfortable. They've got to be formal in the sense that we have an identity with the Sunland uniform, and it's very, very important for us. And in recent years, we've made great efforts to improve the uniform. For example, in the last 2 years, we've brought out a new PE uniform with the material, the air, it's more breathable, exactly. But also our style of uniform is very much in keeping with our campus, that we're an outdoor campus, and we want the students to feel comfortable when they're in the classroom or whether they're outside the classroom. But we're very proud of that, yes.
Yeah, no, but for me it's something that very small, but that made a big impact to me. I think I want to close it off with asking you the question that I ask everybody else. Is there something else that you want to say, that you want to add, that you think that we have missed that is very important for people to know?
I think a message to the people who are out there who are obviously going through the stressful journey of acquiring and starting again in a new location, whether it's from Spain here or further afield. I think it's really, really important that make decisions based as a family. Schooling is so important. And as I said, it's so important that when you find the right school, then I agree with looking at the house second, because unless you've got that balance between my kids are happy right now, so that you can deal with the stress of the delivery of your furniture from the location, you can deal with the stress of bureaucracy sometimes that they may encounter here in Spain. I've only gone through the process in the last 2 years, as you know, recently moved from the coast to inland. Couldn't be happier. But it's a stressful time.
Moving is stress.
Moving is stressful. And so what you want to take any extra stress out, and kids can be stressful as well. So when you know that they're in the right school, that's one thing ticked off your list. And in my opinion, it's the most important thing.
Yeah. Okay. Rachel, thank you very much. Point one, for having my kids and surviving them.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for being here and giving our people and all our guests such amazing information.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.